Okay, good to vach. It's nice to see everybody. We're up to Samech Beis Amid Aleph. Samech Beis Amid Aleph. We're about 15 lines down, the two dots. Now, the Mishnah was discussing what needs some Kabbalah need Hagasha, some need Hagasha and Tanufa, some need just Tanufa, not Hagasha. So here's one, and the Shtei Lechem, the Kipsi at Seres, they what? They need they need Hanafa. They don't need Hagasha, but they need Tanufa. They're woven. The Shtei Lechem is woven with Kipsi at Seres, and obviously Shtei Lechem Kipsi at Seres they're woven. Is that the word? Woven together. Okay, Tan Rabbanan. So what does the pasuk say? State in pasuk, the Hanif oisam hakayin oisam. The kohen will go ahead and wave them. Al lechem abikurim. It's mashma al lechem abikurim that they're on top of the lechem. Tenufel v'nei Hashem al shnei kivasim, on the two kivasim kodesh yu lakayin. Now it seems to be contradictory. The first part of the pasuk says what? Al lechem abikurim, that the kvasim will be on top of the lechem. The latter part of the pasuk says, "Al shnei kvasim kodesh yiyu." It's mashma they will be on top of the kvasim. So what is it? So the Gemara is concerned. What exactly when you wave it? What's on top? Is the lechem on top, or is the kifti atzeres on top? Okay, that's the Gemara's discussion. Tanarabbanan. The heinif akoyin oisam alechem habikurim, that the kohen will go ahead and use wave alechem habikurim. So it says alechem habikurim. Yochel, I would think, Yoniach kfasim al gabi alechem, that you put the kfasim on top of the lechem, you put the sheep on top of the breads. Talmud Laimar al shnei kfasim. It says you put the breads on top of shnei kvasim. So l'chayr it's I al shnei kvasim. If it says on top of the shnei kvasim, Yochel lechem al gabi kvasim, I might think the lechem's on top. Talmud Laimar al lechem abikurim. So l'chayr the pasuk nishtak al akasav ein yedeya. The pasuk is equal. In other words, it goes both ways. I don't know in lechem al gabi kvasim, if the lechem is on top of the kvasim, in kvasim al gabi lechem. Good. I don't know. Says the Gemara, Mamad sina b'chol makom. What do we find in any place? We find lechem l'mayla. We find the lechem is on top. Afkan lechem l'mayla. So too the lechem is on top. Now the Gemara wants to know, Heicha, where do we find that the lechem is on top? Where do we find that the lechem is on top, that you're going to use it over here as a means of explaining? Says Gemara, miluyim. As we said, by the miluyim, they put the lechem on top, and therefore, just like by the miluyim, the lechem was on top, so to kivsei atzeres, the lechem is on top. That's the first opinion. Okay, first opinion is the lechem is on top. A second opinion, Rabbi Yossi ben Hamishulam Oimer, kivasim l'mayla, the kivasim are on top. So the sheep are on top. Fred the Gemara, if the sheep are on top, mani mekayim al shnei kvasim. What do you mean that the lechem is masma on top of the two kvasim? It's masma that the lechem is on top and not the sheep. Lahoitzi shiva. That's to include the other seven. In other words, these lechem is accompanied by the two kvasim. There were seven oilers that were brought. And it was at Seres. We spoke about this. There were seven oilers brought. As a matter of fact, there were 14. There was more. These are the ones accompanying the shlamim. Then you had the ones for that seres itself, right? These are right. So there was two sets, right? There were two sets. So this is the set that is accompanying that. Those seven, it's opposed to those seven. You don't need the lechem. You need this lechem amat al shnei kvasim. The lechem on those two kvasim. That's the second opinion. But einachinami, according to this opinion, the lechem was on top. According to this opinion, the lechem was on top. According to the first opinion, this opinion, the kvasim were on top, right? And the first opinion, the lechem was on top. Chanina ben Chachinoy Omer, meniach shtei halechem, bein yer kasayim shel kvasim. You will put the two breads between the thighs of the two kvasim. Now again, the shtei lechem needs waving tnufa when it's chayim, when it's alive, and when it's dead. So here we're speaking about when it's alive, the first one. Okay, umenif v'nimsa mekayim shnei mekaras halalu, and you find both psukim. Guys, here. So picture, guys. Let's say this is the shnei kvasim. This is the lechem, the shnei lechem. So now, if you put it over here, right, I have the lechem on top, and I have the kvasim on top of this one, right? If over here, so you can become both psukim. You have this on top is the lechem on top, and you have this on top. You have the kvasim on top. So by putting it in the middle. So it says Reb uh, says a really interesting pshat. But according to Rabbi Chanina ben Chachinoi, meniach shtei lechem meniach kvasim shakvasim umein afnim semekayim shem akros alalu lechem al gabi kvasim. You're gonna have the top lechem on the kvasim, ukvasim al gabi lechem, and you'll have kvasim underneath the lower what the lower lechem. Amar Rebbe says Rebbe. Amar Rebbe says Rebbe. The fnei melech basa b'domein loisin kain, right? The fnei melech malchei amlachem hakadosh baruch hu loisin kain. It doesn't seem to be such a right. It doesn't seem to be such a bakavadik thing to put bread between the two legs of a live kvasim. One kvas, doesn't seem to be so geschmack. So like, it doesn't seem bakavadik. So they said they good in practicality, fitting in the pasuk, it makes sense. But bakavadik for bringing a carbon that way, it doesn't make too much sense. El, what do you do? Meniach zeh b'tzad zeh. You put the kvasim and the lechem next to each other. Umenif. So right now we have three opinions. According to the first opinion, the lechem's on top, like the meluyim. According to the second opinion, what the kvasim are on top, and al ashnei kvasim refers to as opposed to the other seven. According to the second opinion, they're side by side, guys. The third opinion, they're side by side. The lechem is side, and the shnei kvasim on the other side. We're samich beis amid aleph nasan about 3 lines before it gets wide. How can you tell me you put it by sides? You need al kvasim. Well, al lechem, you need on al. We always teach guys al as on, right? Al as on. So if it says al shnei kvasim, it must be on top of it. So l'chari, how can you tell me it's on the side of it? So Amalei Rav Chisda Rav Hamnuna, V'emi lo Rav Hamnuna Rav Chisda, Rebbe l'tamei, the Amar al b'samach. Al is what? Is next to. It doesn't mean on, it can mean next to. The Tanya, I'll give you an example of it. V'nasata ala maracha levoina zaka. You'll put on the shulchan, you'll put avoina zaka. You're going to take a bezech, you're going to take a little kli, and you're going to fill it with levoina, with frankincense, and you're going to put it not on top of the lechem upon him, you're going to put it next to the lechem upon him. So even though it says v'nasata al hamaracha, you're going to put it on top of the maracha, right? So, but the lashon. V'nesata al hamareches levoina. I'm sorry, I said maracha. Hamareches, right? V'nesata al mareches levoina zaka. So you see, al means next to. Rebbe oima al besamach. Rebbe says al means next to. Ato oima al besamach oina ella al mamish. Right? Maybe it means mamish on top of. Kishu oimer. It says by the oren. V'sakoisa ala oren es haparoiches. V'sakoisa, and it'll be covering her oren es haparoiches. The pareiches, this samta shem eis oren edus sakoisa alo oren es pareiches. Now, the pareiches is the curtain, guys. The curtain was on top of the oren. The kapairis was on top of the oren. So it says, when it says over here the sakoisa alo oren es pareiches, what do you see? Here's the oren. Here's the pareiches. So you see al is besamach. So I gave you 2 examples of al being next to. By the shulchan, where the bezech of levaina was next to the orders of the showbreads of the lechem upon him, and by the arin, where it was next to the pareiches. Havyomer al besamach. So we have again 3 opinions, and the Rambam passes like the last one, that you would put the kirsiyat seres next to what the lechem upon him and wave them together. Okay, now how do you wave? Moiluchu mevi, mailu moirid. You got guys, moiluchu mevi, east to west, mailuchu moirid. Right, top to bottom. Okay. Reb Chia Baraba, Reb Yochanan, Moiluchu Mevi, Lemi Sharuches Shaloi. You would go with Moiluchu Mevi to the one that the Ruches belong to him, the Rebbeinu Shloim. Mailu Moirid, you go, right? The Ruches referring to the winds. Mailu Moirid, Lemi Shemayim V'aretz Shaloi. Right? That's and you're being Mailu Moirid to the Rebbeinu Shloim, who created the world. Right? Everything belongs to him. B'marava masna hachi, right in Eretz Yisrael, this is the way they learned. Amrav Chama Barukva, Amrav Yosi Bar Chinina, Moiluchu Mevi. So Moiluchu Mevi means again you go east to west. Kidei latsa ruchais rois to stop the bad winds. Mailu Morik they latsa talolim roim the bad do. So if this sounds familiar, guys, we're going to see in a second. This is the lulav. This is the nanuim of the lulav. There's a nice Taisus over here discusses the nanuim how they do it three this way. When you do that Nulim, it's an interesting thesis. Rabbi Yosef, I'm just giving you a Maramakim. Rabbi Yosef by Rav Ravin, Soisai Meres, Shiori Mitzvah, Ma'akanes Apronius. You see that Shiori Mitzvah, the ancillary part of a mitzvah. Rashi, go over here, guys. Nice Rashi. Shiori Mitzvah, the loy ma'akva kapara. What does Shiori Mitzvah mean? It's a remnant of a mitzvah, meaning it's not ma'akiv the kapara. If you don't do it, it's still going to be, the mitzvah is going to be accomplished. It's not the ikka mitzvah. Kidaminu perik shtei midos. Shem asal tenufa shiori mitzvah. If ma'ilo lava kosev kilu loy kiper. If you don't do it, it's like you weren't mechaper. However, if you keep it, bottom line, it's not the best thing not to do. But it, again, says Rashi. So, but you see over here, tenufa, which is an ancillary part of the Mishnah, nonetheless has tremendous power. Kol shekain the mitzvah itself, fellas, right? If the shiori mitzvah has such a power to stop bad winds, to go ahead and stop bad dew, so certainly what the mitzvah itself, the tenufa shiori mitzvah, because tenufa is shiori is the ancillary part of a mitzvah. Vayitzeres ruchos rois utloim roim. Amar Rabba, v'chein luliv, you find by luliv. Now this is very fast. Rav Acha bar Yaakov mimatalei u'maisilei, he would go up and down, back and forth. Umachve hachi, and v'omar giri be'ena de sitna. There should be an arrow in the eyes of the sun. Rashi says liguri sitna tu'una. Right? He says mamish liguri sitna. It should be like. In other words, I'm going ahead and I'm taking this lulav and I'm sticking in the eye of the sun. That's what Rav Acha bar Yaakov would say, right? Falav milsahi mishum de asil is bay. Don't start up with the sun, guys. It doesn't pay, right? You can't win. So l'chayra Rav Acha bar Yaakov knows this, right? So I saw, guys, a note from the Vishinantam. I think I had such a geschmack. I can't wait to tell it to you the whole day. So Rav Acha bar Yaakov wasn't worried about the sun, right? So there's a sefer called Yad Eliyahu. There's two possibilities who it's written by. I'm not sure which one it is. It's probably an earlier one. But anyway, look at this Gemara he quotes. It's so geschmack. Why Rav Acha bar Yaakov wasn't worried? The Gemara is discussing, fellas. It's discussing Eoiv. Gemara in Baba Basra Daf Tez Zayin, guys. This Gemara is Baba Basra Tez Zayin, and the Gemara is Rab Levi. Says Rab Levi, what happened? Where are we? Where are we? Are we back? You can see? So Rab Levi, Sutton Penina, both the Sutton and the Penina, L'Shem Shemayim Niskavnu. Now, the Sutton went and he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, there's no one like Eoiv. And the Sutton said, let me check, let me see, let me test him. Penina made Chana, she bothered Chana very much, right? And so the Gemara says, that the Navi says, so the Rabbi Levi says both the Sutton and Penina, who was the Tzara of Chana, the Shem Shemayim Niskavnu. Sutton, Kivin the Chazil HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not Yedaite Basa Eoiv. Since he saw that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was what? Was not Yedaite. He was showing favoritism to Eoiv. Omar said the Sutton to himself, Chas v'sholom minashlei l'rachmanusei to Avraham. Chas v'sholom, it should not be forgotten, right? Rachmanusei of Avram Avinu. So the Sutton therefore went ahead and he wanted to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Eoiv is not like Avram Avinu. So his whole purpose was not really to go ahead and challenge Eoiv, but it was to challenge Eoiv for Avram Avinu. In other words, he was Shem Shemayim for Avram. Penina, Dichsiv, and therefore she was doing it by Arima that she should go ahead and daven, that Penina should daven for a child. So both the Sutton and the Sutton was mechavin for Eoiv and Penina l'shem Shemayim. Guys, this is the line. Rav Acha bar Yaakov b'Papunya asa. Rav Acha bar Yaakov in Papunya, he went and he made this drasha. Harima darsha, give me stuff here. Darsha Rav Acha bar Yaakov b'Papunya. He darshan the words of Levi b'Papunya that the Sutton was mechavin l'shem Shemayim. Asa Sutton came to Sutton, Nashke Lakare, and as a show of respect and thankful, he kissed what? He kissed Rav Acha bar Yaakov on his feet. The Sutton kissed Rav Acha bar Yaakov on his feet. So Mamela says the Yad Eliyahu, we can understand beautifully. Guys, why wasn't he worried when he said giving the eyes of the son, because the son was so nice. Son's not going to start out with him. Son kissed his feet. Geschmack is anything. No, geschmack, a little line of a Gemara of a Basa to illuminate. So geschmack. He wasn't worried. He wasn't worried. As he would say, zog sich nicht, Kenny, right? Zog sich nicht. He wasn't worried. But the other guys who never had, once if the son's kissing your feet, you're not worried. So he would say, giving the guys of the son. Very geschmack. Yad Eliyahu. Say for Yad Eliyahu, very, very geschmack.
The gate mir nicht an.
Gate mir nicht an, yeah. Anyway, so that's why Rabbi Yaakov was not worried. Says the Gemara Vaita. Tan Rabbanan. Sivchei Shamei Tzibor, the Shlomim of the Zilchim Shamei Tzibor, these are the Kfasim of the Atzeres. Tu'unim Tenufa, they need Tenufa. La'acha Shchita, u'Tenufasan K'may Shehein. And when before Shchita they need it, that's before in the Pasuk, and after Shchita they need it. And when you do the tenufa, you have to do them shalem, k'may shehein, as they were when they were alive. You do tenufa when they're no longer in this world. Divrei Rabbi, the chachamim ma'imim, and the chachamim of the opinion, the chaz of a shaykh. What? No, you don't. You only do the chaz of a shaykh. You don't have to do the whole animal. You do the chaz of a shaykh, and you have to have guys, be meduyik. You have to have some chalavim. You're right. The chaz of a shaykh goes to the kohen. You have to have chalavim because you're going to give this. You're going to give this to. You're going to give it to somebody. We had the Gemara earlier. You're going to give it to somebody to burn. So obviously, there has to be something there to burn. Okay. Anyway, so the Ketuf Chaz v'Shaik. But my kamiflaki, what are they? Guys, so I just threw a bomb by you. By the way, remember what's on top? The kvasim with the fats. That they were back and forth. Right, the third guy. So what are you burning? It's the chaz v'shaik. You're not burning anything. It goes to what? It goes to the kohen. Elamai. You have to see the chaz v'shaik. There was chalavim there. There was kaloyas there. There was something there that you had to burn. Right? There's something that's geschmack. There was something that you had to burn. Says the Gemara. Okay, now, so we have the machlokes, guys. What's the machlokes? Says Rabbi, they were whole. Says the chachamim, b'chaz v'shaik. Only the chaz v'shaik. Now, guys, be aware. The shlomim was the shlamim was after it was geschachten, it was woven. The zivchei shamitziva was woven before and after. Now we says mefurish the zivchei shamitziva when it's alive. It doesn't say in the Torah that you have to wave it after it's dead. You learn that out from the regular shlamim. Good. You learn out these unique shlamim that are kachei kedoshim. You learn them out from the shlam yachid. Says Rabbi. Just like Rebbe's going to learn that's the whole thing. So to what? This is the whole thing. And Judge Chacham says, but my kamifli, what's the svaras machlokes between Rebbe and the Chachamim? Amar le Rav Chisda le Rav Hamnuna, v'imri lo Rav Hamnuna le Rav Chisda, b'doin mina umina, b'doin mina v'uki basra. Many times in Shas, fellas, we have the following limud. When you're learning out one from the other, because they were Shav in particular, do you learn one thing and then you continue to learn from the source you're learning from? Or you learn one thing and that's it? Dog mina, you learn from it, umina, and you continue to learn from it. Or doik mina, fuki abasra, you learn that one thing and then I go back to where I was holding. Okay? That's the shaila. Kaniflaki. Rabban and Savri, again, Rabban the whole guy's the chaz of a shaykh. Kivin the doik mina, you learn from it, umina. And then you'll continue to learn from it. So, guys, what do you learn from it? It's just like the zivchei shalmei yachid, the shlomim of an adav of a yachid needs tenufa after it's geschachten. Af zivchei shalmei tzibur tunim tenufa la'achas shchita. Again, it doesn't say in the Torah zivchei shalmei tzibur require post slaughter waving. It only says before. Where do you learn that la'acha? Where do you learn afterwards? Right? Where do you learn afterwards? You learn it what from? You learn it what from the Zivchei Shamei Tzibur, right? 1 second. So guys, watch. I know Zivchei Shamei Tzibur when it's wave when it's alive. I don't know after it's geschachten. That I learned from what? From Sivchei of a Yachid. So that I learned out one thing. Now, if I'm going to continue to learn, then I'll learn out just like this is the Chaz of a Shaykh. You only do the waving the Chaz of a Shaykh. so too over here you do the chaz v'shaik. That's the chachamim. What does Rabbi say? The whole thing. Jok minoah fuki basra. All I have to learn is one thing, that you do waving after it's geschachten, but you don't continue to learn the din of chaz v'shaik. That would be the way to explain the machlokes. So it says that one more time. Jok minoah fuki basra. Rabbanan Savri, 4 lines from the bottom. Rabbanan Savri, doik mina umina. You learn from it and you continue to learn from it. What does that mean? I'll learn from Shalma Yachid and I'll continue to learn from Shalma Yachid. Ma'azivche Shalma Yachid, tu'unim tenufa, just like the Zivit la'acha shchita, they need tenufa after it's geschachten. Av zivche Shalma Tzibur, tu'una tenufa la'acha shchita. Umina, and I'll continue to learn from it. Ma hasan b'chazav v'shaik. Av hachanami b'chaz of a shaik. Just like what? There it's b'chaz of a shaik. So to what? So to over here by Shalmei Kivsei Tzibur, it's also chaz of a shaik. Rabbi Saba, no. Doik mina, buki basra. I'll learn from there and that's it. Ma zivche Shalmei yachid tunim tenufa la'acha shchita. Just like zivche Shalmei yachid tunim tenufa la'acha shchita. Av zivche Shalmei Tzibur tunim tunacha shchita. That's it. Buki basra, and then I'll keep it on its own place. Hasamhu dechas of a shaik. Over there, aval hacha k'mayshein b'chayim. Just like they were when they were alive, that's the way I'll do it when it's dead. Okay, so let's go through one more time because the Gemara now is going to show us on both. We know a given that the kifsei atzeres are woven when they're alive. We know this shalmei yachid are woven after they're dead. Not right. That's all I know. How do I know this is also after they're dead? I learn it from here. Now, to what extent am I learning from here? Says the Chachamim, totally. You're learning A, that what, after it's dead, and B, just like over here is the Chaz of a Shaik, so too by the Zivchei Shalmei Tziva is the Chaz of a Shaik. Says Rabbi, no, all I'm learning is one thing. Just like here it's when it's dead, so too here is when it's dead. Now, Uki Basra. Just like over here, it was woven when it was alive, in one piece, so too after it's dead, it's woven in one piece. That's it. There's no shalim. That's the machlokes. Good. That's the way the Gemara fears the machlokes. Now the Gemara is going to say that's not necessarily true. Rav Papa Amar no. The kuli alma doin mina umina hu. Everyone says you learn and you continue to learn. So who's shver, guys? Rabbi. If you learn and continue to learn, it should be the chaz of a shaik, right? It's shver Rabbi. V'hainu time of the Rebbe, very geschmack. So what's the reason for Rebbe? Why does Rebbe say only the chaz of a shaik? Ki hasam, right? Over there, just like over there, meaning the zivche of the yachid. Ma hasam by the yachid, davar shem matana l'kayin, avhacha davar shem matana l'kayin. So too, what goes to the kayin? Geschmack. Look, guys, watch. Here is zivche shamei tzibor. Here's the yachid. I'm learning out that it's woven after it's dead. And also, just like over here, it's the part that goes to what? The kayin. So to over here, it's going to be the part that goes to the kayin. Not the emurim, not the part that goes to Hashem. It's going to be the part that goes to the kayin. So therefore, doik mina umina, I'll continue to learn from it, right? And I did, right? Or which part goes, right? Which part goes, right? Which part says Rebbe? Only the part that is mina, like the shaik, like is the chaz of a shaik. So too, over here is going to be the chaz of a shaik. That's the so too over here is going to be the part that goes to the kayin. Is what is the chaz of the afhacha dava shematana l'kay. Afhacha dava shematana l'kay. Okay, so too over here it's going to be. Rebbe says that what you're going to do the whole thing. The whole thing goes to the kayin. I guess the whole thing goes to the kayin, right? Like we know. One second. The kula whole thing goes to the coin. Excuse me, the coin. Eat the whole thing, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Over here, the coin doesn't just get the chaz of a shaik. The coin gets the whole kit and caboodle. So over here by Yachid, it's the chaz of a shaik. Over here by the Shalmi Kvasim, it's the whole thing. So doik mina, I learned out after shchita. Umina, just like over here, it's the matnas kayin. So over here, it's the matnas kayin. Over here, it was limited to the chaz of a shaik. By the kifsei atzeres, it's the whole animal, right? The emurim go to Hashem. They always that, but we're not discussing that, right? We're discussing the part that goes to the kayin. Ravina Amar, Ravina has another way of learning. The Kuli Alma Doin Mina Vuki Basra. Right? So now who's Shver? The Chachamim. The Chachamim said the Chazal B'Shoik. Where'd they get that from, guys? If you're telling me, guys, Doik Mina means you learn out after Shchita and that's it. So where in the world did you get Chazal B'Shoik by this Zivchei Sham Yitzibur? If you didn't get it from the Yachid, where'd you get it from? It's a din that's unique to the Yachid, right? The carbon of a Yachid. It's not a din that belongs to the Tzibur. Where'd you get that from? The Kuliyam document was behind the time of Rabbanon, Shalmeihem Ribuyahu. So if you look at Rashi, Rashi brings the pasuk. It's a Xeris HaKosiv, right? Really, Duk Mina Buki Basra, and therefore you only learn out and you don't continue to learn out. So I saw Shalmeihem, B'Shalmei Yachid Kasiv, by the Shlama of the in Vayikra Zion, if you have it in Gemara as Vayikra Zion, as Chaze Atnufa, V'Shoik Hatruma, Lakachti Me'es B'nei Yisrael, Mizivche Shalmeihem, Dimashma Loshin Rabim, V'Habilei Lemichtav Loshin Yachid, the B'Yachid Mishtoi, the pasuk speaking about the Shlamim of a Yachid. Why are you using a plural lashon? It must be to include not only the Shlamim of a Yachid, but even the Zivchei Shalmei Tzibor. And therefore it's Gzeres HaKosiv. U'midchsiv Loshin Rabim, Loimar, Al Chazav V'Shoik Shal Shalmei Tzibor Shein Yenufu. It's speaking on the Shalmei Tzibor, you also need Tenufa. So guys, we have a Machlokes, and we have three ways of explaining the Machlokes. Let's Chazar Rebbe. Says the Gemara. Says Rabbi, when you do the tenufa after it dies, after it's geshachten, you do the whole thing. Says the Chachamim, it's the Chazav V'Shoik. You only do the Chazav V'Shoik. We have the first way to explain it. Rabbi explains doik mina, right? Vuki basra. In other words, I'll learn out one thing. What's the one thing? That there is tenufa after it's dead, after it's geshachten. Vuki basra. Just like when it was alive, it was the whole thing. So when it's dead, it's the whole thing. The Chachamim say no. Doik mina umina. I'll learn out that you have to shecht it, wave it after it's shechted. And Sveitin's just like the Shalmei Yachid is Chazav V'Shoik, so too here it's Chazav V'Shoik. Okay, that's the first way to explain it. Rav Papa explained it differently. Rav Papa said, no, it could be, everyone holds Doik Mina Umina, that you could learn out and you continue to learn out. So if that, who comes out very, very good then? It's right Chachamim, right? Doik Mina Umina, you continue to learn out, so very good. I'll have the Chazav V'Shoik. So what about Rabbi? How can Rabbi Doik Mina Umina? Very good. Just like by the Yachid, it's the part that goes to the Kayin. So too over here, it's the part that goes to the Kayin. What goes to the Kayin over here? The ganze Sach, the whole thing. Mela, doik mina, mina. Finally, Ravina says the opposite. Doik mina, vuki basra. Really? So who's shver then? Doik mina, vuki basra. The shver is the Chachamim. Well, if oiki basra, where the Chacham get the Chazav V'Shoik from? The answer is it's Xeris HaKosiv of Shalmeihem, and therefore very gishmak. Reb Shimon said, Shloisha meaning tu'unim shloisha mitzvahs. You have three types of kabbanis and three mitzvahs. Okay, guys, what are the three mitzvahs? Smicha, tenufa when it's alive, and tenufa when it's dead. Okay, again, one more time. Smicha 1 and 2 tenufas. Smicha and 2 tenufas. And what are the three kabbanis? Shamit Tzibur, Yachid, and Mitzayra. Guys, let's do it outside. Let's do it outside. Okay? So I got 3, but you'll only find 2 by one of them. You'll only find 2 by one of them. So for example, right now we know Zivchei Shalmei Tzibur needs Tenufa when it's alive and Tenufa when it's dead. Therefore, there's no smicha. We just figured out, right? We just learned out from Shalmei Yachid to the Kifsiyat Seres. Yes? Why did we learn out? Just like the Yachid is when it's dead, so to here it's when it's dead and when it's alive because it says it openly. So it doesn't need smicha if you only get 2 out of 3. Good. What about the Shalmei Yachid? Guys, Shalmei Yachid, smicha, yes. Tenufa when? After it's dead, but not when it's alive. Yeah? The Asham, right? But what do we learn from the Asham? You need smicha and tenufa when it's alive, but not after it's dead. So that would be the application of all of these. Let's see it inside. 3 kabbanis, 3 types, 3 mitzvahs. Each have 2, but they don't have 3. Guys, the Shalmei Yachid, that's going to need, we're foreshadowing, the Shalmei Yachid is going to need smicha and post-slaughter waving. V'zivchei shamit tzibur are going to need pre and post slaughtering without smicha. V'yashim mitzayra is going to need smicha and pre and not post. Zivchei shamit yachid tunim smicha chayim utenufa shchutim. Very good. They ain't them tenufa chayim. They don't have pre shchita. Zivchei shamit tzibur tunim tenufa chayim ushchutim. They have both pre and post, but they don't have smicha. They ain't them smicha. Ashim Mitzayra, Toyin Smichu Tenufa Chayim, but Chayiv ain't by Tenufa Shachad. Very geschmack. It fits in very nicely. It says, V'yu Zivchei Shama Yochid. So now the Gemara is going to go through, let's say, why do you limit it? Maybe Shalmei, let's learn at Shalmei Yochid from Shalmei Tzibur that it needs pre-slaughtering as well. Pre-waving when it's before it's Geshachtin. We're going to take these variables and play off each other. That's what we're going to do right now. Says the Gemara. V'yu Zivchei Shama Yochid, who do not need waving before it's slaughtered. Tunim tenufa chayim, it should need mikal v'chayver. Umaz zivchei shamei tzibor, she'ein tunim smicha. The kivsi atzeres don't need smicha. Nonetheless, chayim. Nonetheless, tenufa chayim, they need tenufa when it's alive. Zivchei shamei yachid, the zvachim of a yachid, she'tunim smicha chayim, who do need smicha when it's alive. Ein din, is it not a kal v'chaymer she'tunim tenufa chayim, that they should need tenufa when it's alive? So let's learn out of Kavachayma. Says the Gemara, Miyat Rachmana Gabi Zivchei Shamei Tzibor, Vehenif Oisam. Guys, it says, and they should wave them. Oisam, them when it's alive. This Mute Zivchei Shamei Yachid, right? That they don't get woven when it's alive. So you have a good Kavachayma, but I have a Miyut to tell me that Oisam, Dafka the Shamei Tzibor get woven when it's alive, not the Zivchei Shamei Yachid. Now the other variable, you use Zivchei Shamei Tzibor, Tunim smicha mikal v'chaymer from Shamei Yachid. Uma zivchei Shamei Yachid. Shein tunim tenufa chayim. You don't have to wave them before geshachted. Tunim smicha, they need smicha. Zivchei Shamei Tzibur shetunim tenufa chayim, who do need tenufa chayim, ein edin shetunim smicha. Good. So Amar Ravina Gemiri, we have by the now Zivchei Shamei Tzibur is the carbon tzibur. Shnei smicha is betzibur. Then we have a Messiah. There's two smichos by the tzibur. Guys, we learned both of them. Par helam davar shel tzibur. By the par helam davar it says v'samchu ziknei ha'eda. There's some, right? The ser mishtaleach, when the ser that goes to Yom Kippur. So those are the only kommanos tzibur that require smicha. So once I have a Messiah, I can't say that the zivchei, the kifsei atzeres should need smicha, because what? There's only two korbanos of the tzibur that require. It's the parhelim dava and the semish deleach, not in fact what? Not the zivchei kifsei atzeres. V'yir ashim mitzayir atoyin tenufa shachot. Let the ashim mitzayir that you said does not only need smicha and pre-shchita waving, not post. You should need post-shchita mikal v'chomer. Ma zivchei shamei yachid she'ein tunim tenufa chayim. Zivchei Shamei Yachid do not need tenufa when they're alive. Nonetheless, tenufa shchutin, ashim mitzayir shetoyin tenufa chay, ein edin shetoyin tenufa shachut. They should need what? Mir Rachmana Gabi Zivchei Shamei Yachid oisai. It says v'eschazi atnufa lahinif oisai. What's oisai mean? It. Only the Shamei Yachid would need post, right? But not what? But not the what? The ashim mitzayir. Item Keretzeres we learn from. Five people who bring one carbon. One person does hanafa for all of them. The Isha, the kohen goes ahead and he's meinef for her. We said that she needs tenufa and he's the shliach. You can't be a shliach for smicha, but you could be a shliach for tenufa. That's a big taisus over here. You can't go ahead and be a shliach for smicha. You could be a shliach for tenufa. We saw that the other day. Right? So to some sense, the carbon medina sayam koyin mein of al yodei. Guys, was geschmack that taisus I gave you in kedushin to explain how it's not a problem of negia. Like if tachas yodei does not mean that they're touching. It means the koyin is holding the bottom and you're holding the on the sides.